Christmas Eve. Let's have a call in Oxted. David.
Hello.
David.
Yeah, hello, Nick. You mentioned the 10,000, well, I don't know if it was 10,000 Bitcoin, but you mentioned the pizzas earlier?
Yes.
Yeah, that was May 22. They put up a little plaque in Florida, because, of course, it was in Florida.
Yeah, always in Florida.
I can't remember if the guy that put the article out was British or the guy that contacted him was British, but one of them were. It was this guy. He did it for 4 days trying to get pizza. He wanted to get it. It was the first established trade of goods for Bitcoin.
Right.
So it's marked a little plaque. But yeah, he put up 10,000 Bitcoin and wanted 2 large pizzas. He said, I'll pay 10,000 Bitcoins for a couple of pizzas, like maybe 2 large ones, so I have some left over for the next day. I like having leftover pizza to nibble on later. So somebody contacted him finally and got his couple of pizzas delivered to him. And at the current rate, which is like $99,918 thousand, they're just shy of $100,000, but they've gone above it the last few days to like 103. Yeah, that would be $1 billion for 2 large pizzas. I mean, it did happen.
What happened to the Bitcoins, though? Do we know who has them? Is it still with the pizza guy?
No. The guy who did this for him after 4 days of searching, his name was like Jercos, Jercos. I think it says, just for info, Gavin Anderson, a coder in New England who bought 10,000 Bitcoin for $50, created a website, Bitcoin Faucet, in 2010, and he gave away all these coins just because. They had another guy who tried to auction off 10,000 of them for $50 and had no takers. They were pretty much worthless back then, though.
Yeah.
I mean, the deal for those 2 pizzas was $41. So, yeah, if you held on to them, they'd literally be worth $1 billion, but who held on to them?
Right.
I mean, back in the day, homeless people used to use mine Bitcoin, to save up for food. So they were doing the same thing, buying $1 million meals. But
it seems like it seems sort of you'd have now. I mean, in hindsight, of course, you'd want to get as many as you could as soon as they became available and just hang on to them. But
nobody knew to hang on to them.
Right.
I mean, when it's going up, if it went up to like $100 and you got them for 10, wouldn't you sell? People sell them on the way up. They don't wait until they're worth $100,000.
Right.
So they're going to make a little bit of money, but nowhere near as if they would have lost their little thumb drive or something with the Bitcoin on them and found them today. Then they'd make all that money. But if they're holding on to them, there's no way they're going to wait that long.
And some guy keeps making the newspapers because he threw out his computer, on which was the key to access hundreds of millions of pounds.
Yeah, there's one dump they're still looking through. They're still going through because this one woman, his secretary, threw out his computer. And she's like, I'm so sorry. And it's one of these not an urban legend, but these ridiculous stories that come up with that. But one thing I've noticed since Trump won is I had no idea how many people were really mad at the Democrats because of their whole cryptocurrency. I know that the SEC chair, Gary Gensler, has been just a nightmare for the last few years, but I had no idea how many votes they lost because of this. And I do have some cryptocurrency, but I don't like the people I see representing us because they have these shirts on with Trump on them, and I'd really rather Harris won and be broke. I mean, it's nice to see it going up, but the cost of this is going to be so much.
Yeah. I mean, it does seem it's completely unregulated. I mean, that's part of its appeal to a certain element. I mean, it's being used by criminals, of course, to sell guns and drugs.
Definitely could be, yeah.
Under the radar.
If you were going to try to take a bunch of money into the States, you might want to, buy gold coins with a face value of £1, like a sovereign. Say, I only have 10 coins. That's a value of 10 pounds. But it doesn't work that way anymore. They actually use the weight of the gold as you go in.
Yes.
So it's really hard to move money. But if you had like a little calculator, and this one company, Tangem, sells, it's like a credit card. It's just a black card. And it goes with a ring as well. So you could just have that card or the ring. And you could have, 10,000 Bitcoin in that. There's no way they would know what you were moving money into a country doing that.
No. And apart from anything else, though, the cost of making a Bitcoin is becoming more and more with every passing day, isn't it? Because it's becoming, the calculations required are becoming more and more complex.
They're just about mining them.
Yes.
Yeah, there's 21 million of them, and they've mined about 19 million of them. And it's so hard because they have it every time and quite often. So in the beginning, you could have 10,000 Bitcoin, but just to mine one, it takes a hell of a long time now, and it uses a lot of electricity.
Well, that's what I was going to say. The amount of power and energy that is required to mine these things is just absolutely staggering.
Yeah, they say it's like as much as the usage of like Austria or Sweden or something like that. It's pretty bad. But did anybody hear anything more about South Korea? What happened if the crowd ended up rioting when they called off the vote?
Well, South Korea has been in the news. And I don't know what the very, very latest developments are. In about 13 minutes, the news will be on, and it might be on that.
Definitely wondering if they've burned anything down yet.
Well, we'll find out. All right, good to talk to you. Thanks a lot, David. 0345 6060 973. Louise texts, student fees were voted